Mark Baer. Welcome to the YourTown television program. I'm with Gerald Vinci, Vinci Digital Design, and we're talking marketing, branding. We're looking at the YourTown television program, which is just in its rebirth and its infancy, and I'm asking questions and you're giving me answers. Let's talk about you first.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so let's talk about, what do you do?
Okay. Well, I am a digital marketing consultant, branding consultant, and I run a marketing agency here in town. We do just about everything from web design to helping people just find more opportunities within their market to help grow their business.
And you've been here, you haven't been here a lot of years, you've just recently...
Yeah, about 3 years ago we moved here. My wife's active duty with the Air Force right now, and we had orders to come out here, and we kind of fell in love with it within the first couple days we were here, and we decided, if we had an opportunity to stay here, we would. So we've committed ourselves to staying in the area now, and now she's starting a business in the area as well. So we're kind of putting our flag in the ground and staying put.
Well, this is an interesting and a common experience that people do come here. Yeah. They do fall in love, and they get involved in their community, and it is a relatively easy community to become involved with, and especially in the nonprofit networks and areas like that. So let's, so what was your background to do your business, and what do you particularly specialize in? Let's talk about the business a little more.
For me, I got my start, I guess, officially as an art director for a communications company, and I really didn't enjoy corporate culture in terms of a creative environment. So the more time I spent in that environment, the more I felt like I needed to go out on my own and start my own agency to do the things that I wanted to do. So 15 years ago, I kind of hit the ground running and decided to just start reaching out to people, and grew the agency. We started out as mostly just web design, and then over time we've grown and branched out into all these other services that we provide now. For me, I like working with small businesses because I find that they really don't like working with marketing agencies, because most of the time they feel like they're just paying so much money for something and they're not getting anything in return. And the biggest thing I try to do is to get people to understand their needs and educate them on all the options they have, and then find a solution that works for them within their budget, so they're getting results without paying crazy amounts of money to
what's a typical customer, or who are your customers?
I work a lot with small businesses, attorneys in private practice, manufacturing companies. Really, it spans all across the board. There's hospitality industry, restaurants. I'm trying to think. I mean, there really isn't an industry that we haven't tackled yet. So it's pretty wide open. I mean, everybody's goals are mostly the same across the board. They want more leads to their website. They want to grow their business. They want a better quality of customer, things like that. So those are genuine problems that we can help with across the board.
And why you? Because I know that you do more than you're more than branding and logos. Well, branding is a big part of this.
Yeah, branding is something that not a lot of people do, and my branding partner, he always says that branding is like the cereal box aisle of life. So you've got hundreds of different boxes to choose from, and how do you stand out among that group? And maybe you're not even a cereal box. Maybe you're something completely different, but everybody thinks you're a cereal box. So branding helps you be seen, heard, and remembered in a different way than everybody else in your marketplace. So it's very important, no matter how big or small a business is. Everybody's got that unique little thing that they do that nobody else does. So that's really what we try to hone in on, and I guess bring more of your personality back into your business. So it's not so you're not going to work and putting on a mask and you're this person at work and this person at home. It's like you should be able to be the same person and establish a culture within your business that kind of lives with that mindset as well. So basically what we try to do.
Yeah, it's a container, and it helps
Yeah.
you know where you are.
Yeah.
And having a real container as you know, as a beyond a facade, or not taking your brand seriously.
Right.
You know, which is an easy thing to do.
Yeah, and just, you know, to think that you could go to work every day and be comfortable all day long and not feel like you have to put on this different persona, you know, I think that's something that everybody would value. So I try my best to work that into the marketing as much as I can. And I think a lot more people, as things become more competitive with online marketing now, because everybody's got a website and an online business, I think branding is now coming to the forefront, because people are like, okay, there's 15 other companies out there doing exactly what I do. What makes me different in that space? So that's really what we're trying to instill in people.
And those are, you know, so for example, and here we are, we're starting the next incarnation of the YourTown television program. Things are very different in the landscape than when the show was before, primarily because there's so many platforms on which this show will be seen.
Sure.
You know, previously, and it will still be, you'll be able to, at a certain time in the evening, you'll be able to tune on this show, and it will be on every day, and that's dependable. But for the, by and large, people will be seeing it on their telephone, on their computer screen, in a different format. And so, and increasingly, all of those different formats are becoming equal. And so they cannot be thought as ancillary or secondary. We have to, from the very beginning, have a holistic strategy for that.
Right.
And you know, so which is one of the reasons, one of the conversations that we're happening. How do we do that? How do we make our website robust? How do we? We're in a situation where there is no central control to this show. It's as it plays out, there are going to be 16 guest hosts doing. Our goal is to do 16 shows a month, which so that you can have a fresh show every day of the week, plus a repeat on the weekend. Mm-hmm. That's 3 guests per host. But online, you won't see the whole shows. You'll see the segments of the shows, and they will have a more evergreen quality. You know, so they won't be as disposable as daily television. So they'll
Sure.
have longer life. We're asking for underwriting. For this show, we're asking people like yourself coming in as like volunteering for a nonprofit to bring in their services. And so when you do something like that, either the underwriter's message, which is not advertising, it's much, can see what, imagine how PBS works, and we'll be getting to that, soon on this show. But online and on air, we have to have a strategy for how to deal with those underwriters, how to give them the best exposure, how to give them the best use of their money. We have to think about how to use the online aspect to promote those underwriters and cover their issues and their concerns, and let them know, when people contribute to a cause or a something like this show that hopefully will be a powerful voice in the community, that they get something back, those things have to be considered. So how would you approach what we're trying to achieve here?
Well, I think the first thing to consider overall is the fact that the way people access information, the goal of an organization, nonprofit, business, whatever, should be to give people unrestricted access to that, no matter how they're trying to access it. So tackling that problem of, we need to make sure the video content is available across all formats, phones, tablets, computers, and then it lives online somewhere where people can access those shows, as they need it. So, that's the first challenge to overcome, and then really understanding, YourTown TV, who's the audience for that? Is it everybody? Are we targeting specific groups within the community? and if that's the case, if a show has a certain theme to it, like if a certain host is interviewing three guests that have a specific agenda or something like that, who are they going to target with those? Are we going to do marketing around those particular
well,
groups,
let me just answer that. So again, YourTown will cover the arts, the sciences, the educational institutions, the hospitality industry. We'll try to with both a local and a global perspective.
Sure.
So we're going to be touching down on a lot of things that's interesting to an entire population on some level. A wide population, make it entertaining enough for a casual viewer, but again, with the special emphasis. Again, I just interviewed Joy Anderson who is going to be a host from the Chamber of Commerce. Okay, well, the Chamber of Commerce, as they promote their people, that's going to have a specific audience, and we want to be able to then go online where they're really pushing that show out and really specifically. So it may be in other words, everything doesn't have to be a broadcast conversation. Broadcast is fine, but narrowcast may even have more resonance, and so I think it's good to have a conscious strategy to maximize both.
I think that's the advantage to doing this the way we're doing it now, though, because the fact that it lives online, people have the opportunity to look at the ones and the interviews and past shows that interest them. So if they don't catch the show when it's on TV, it's not a big deal, and you're not, there's people out there who might not be interested in the arts or might not be interested in in a political issue in town or something like that. So you're not going to capture people for every single show, but I think that's the great opportunity here, that they have that accessibility after it airs to go back and review that, and then that also gives the organization the opportunity to market and promote the way that they want around certain topics. One thing when we were talking before about the show was, it says something along the lines of, this isn't my town or our town, it's your town. So I love that concept, because it's like, even we're sitting here talking, and it is our town, but we're talking about how we can benefit the end audience. What are they going to get out of this? So I don't know if we have answers for that just yet. Concrete answers, but I think that's something that I ponder with the project. How can we make this more beneficial to the audience, to the end user? What can they get out of this other than just watching the show? How can they take action or get involved? Well,
one of the interesting things about it is we live in a relatively small community, but it's a community where people with amazing expertise have come by choice from all over the world. And by exposing our neighbors here on this show, where I have found that people are accessible here, by and large, more accessible than in a larger urban area. So if I see somebody on this show who's got maybe part of an idea or is part of a of a greater scheme, then gee, I know how to connect them. They're here, they're local, they want to help. So it's you can create you have a lot of advantages in a place like this to create dynamism. And I think it's consciously part of what our mission here is to create dynamism within the town. Somebody you see here, you say, oh, well, I was very interested in what they said, and we're doing this project over here.
Sure.
I wonder if they'd be interested. That's, you really want to create impact.
And collaboration, too. I've never been in a place that had such a genuine level of collaboration before without any sense of there being competition or anything like that. We've lived in quite a few places, and I mean, the second we got here, we're just like, everybody's so nice here and willing to help. And at first we were we stood back and we're like, is this for real, or is somebody just trying to get something out of us? And no, I mean, everybody we've met has just been for my business, for us personally in our lives, like we've just met so many people that are willing to help and be there and I've had so many opportunities in the last year just to collaborate and build certain things for my business and help other people with their projects and things like that. And that's something that I never had before in 15 years of business. So it's pretty amazing. It's a powerful community.
So if I was to, what we're in discussion about is, okay, so how does, the YourTown.tv website, now I'm thinking, how do we lay that out in a dynamic way? How does internet television, how does it work and how does it not work? What works well and what doesn't work?
Right.
How do we use it to connect all the organizations together? How do we use it as a place where if you see somebody, you can make contact? So how do we have simplicity of design, ability of use? Are those issues that somebody like you would know how to deal with?
Absolutely, yeah. The whole scalability factor of something like this, where it might start with, even though there's 16 hosts, you potentially have 16 segments and then all of the different shows that sit under those segments. So it's like putting a puzzle together that's not finished yet. You don't have all the pieces in your hands, but you have to start kind of laying things out on the table and figuring out what goes where. And then just keep in mind with, unlike a printed piece where you print it, it's done, there's really nothing you can do if there's a mistake in it. You just have to live with it until you get it redone. With the website, it grows. There's scalability there. So it might be something where there's a lot of testing that goes on too. We launch this and then we see how the audience responds to it, what they're clicking on, what they're viewing most, and then kind of start to tailor things according to that.
And then again, as we were speaking off camera, the show is going to require underwriting. Mm-hmm. And one of the things about these platforms is you're able to give your underwriters good value. It's a two-way street, and it's not necessarily, we can't do advertising, but again, underwriters have particular interests that they're interested in. They have particular causes that they're interested in. They have different constituencies that they want to reach. And considering their needs and taking in their needs and really giving them good value, because that's what's going to make this happen. That's something that I want to make sure is baked into the cake. So
absolutely, yeah. I think we can definitely account for that. It's a pretty big project. I think there's a lot of moving pieces, so it's something that we'll have to really figure out as time goes on, what's going to work best for people. Making sure we have kind of all the pieces that we need in place, not in place, but the pieces that need to be in there kind of thought about in the beginning. That's the biggest thing with planning websites. So.
Well, I thank you.
Yeah.
This is Mark Baer. I'm with Gerald, Vinci Digital Design. I'll do that all day. And how do they find you? Let's repeat the website one more time.
All right, you can find me at vincidigital.com. So
there we go.
Yep.
Okay, and there it is up on the thing.
All right.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.